Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to Eternal Love of Drama, a channel where two drama enthusiasts share our strong and uninformed opinions about the Chinese dramas that we've watched recently. We don't know much about Chinese drama land or anyone famous in Chinese pop culture, but of course that doesn't stop us from browsing and binging and talking and making fun of all of the dramas. So if that's the kind of thing that you like doing as well, subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think. So every episode, we like to start with an award, an arbitrary drama award. So why don't you tell us what the arbitrary drama award this week is?
Hi, I'm Linda. This week's Arbitrary Drama Award goes to the worst babysitter in all of Chinese drama. Now, I
Yeah.
haven't seen all of Chinese drama, but I
Mhm.
feel quite confident that this winner is really tops, and that is Cu Cu from The Legend of Fei. So, in the beginning, Cu Cu is with her brother. Their family gets killed and they're on the run. And then the hotel that they're staying in burns down. And she just goes off on the run again. And we're like, what happened to her brother? Um, Despite this, she is then later again charged with the care of a little boy. And what happens then?
Actually, it's very unclear. They got to the army, and then she's like, and then there's this kid, and then she leaves and does her own thing again.
Because in a tent with the army in a war is a really great place to just leave the kid.
Well,
So
she's supposed to bring him back to his family, but she doesn't do that because clearly it's not a thing that she does. So,
she doesn't.
and I think what makes her worse is some people you just know not to entrust your children with. They look creepy, or they look irresponsible, but she is very gentle and she looks like you could entrust your child to her, and so she tricks you, and then you give your child to her and never see them again.
She's 0 for 2.
Over two.
Yeah.
So
So
congratulations, Tutu. You are the worst babysitter in all of Chinese drama land.
there's not even other contenders for this award. We just needed to award her this
Yes.
honor. So, speaking of Legend of Fei, this week we will be reviewing Legend of Fei. Long awaited, starring very famous people, Wang Yibo and Zhao Liying. The Legend of Fei follows Zhou Fei, who was a young woman who grew up in this mountain fortress that was established by her grandfather. And he created this place to sort of protect people from the corrupt government. She grows up and her father is asked to leave the fortress to go lead the rebel army by a mysterious stranger, Xie Yun, who's played by Wang Yibo. And Zhou really wants to leave, but she's not allowed to leave for a while. But eventually her mom lets her go. And she ends up connecting again with Xie Yun in the world, and they have many adventures in the Jianghu, and they work to uncover this mystery that the older generation has either been seeking or hiding for the last 20 years. And of course, they fall in love. So,
Yeah,
what did we
so
think?
um, overall, I also was looking forward to this a lot. So I think that my opinion is unfortunately colored by the waiting period and my excitement for this drama. And why I was excited for this drama is I think there are a lot of things that we watch that are boring because they're palace intrigue or they're romance ones, and those are the more common, I think, period dramas. But this one seemed more like a classic wuxia drama. And I was really excited because I wanted to see some good fighting, which you know that I like a good fight, some interesting adventures, and we were promised a treasure hunt. So I was excited about all of those things. And then we watched it, and it was those things, but not exactly those things. So overall, I would say that I enjoyed watching it because of all of the reasons why I wanted to watch it in the first place, but it didn't really deliver on all of the elements that I thought it should. So that's just a summary of what I thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like we can start with the things that we liked because I agree with you. I was really excited about it because I like wanted to watch a classic wuxia drama, and it was so fun. Like I like that whole like, and I think that this drama did have that whole like sense of adventure. They're going on a quest. She's going out into the world, like testing her skills. And I think it did have that like good feeling that wuxia does for you or for me, without being like so thoroughly weighed down or like, transitioning into like a period where it's all about like palace drama, right? Palace
Yep.
intrigue and politics. So I do think that is something that I really enjoyed about this. Even though there were many faults of this drama, it did still give me that sense of like excitement, adventure, um,
And
treasure
to be
hunt.
clear, those are like to be more specific, actually, it's like during the course of Zofei's adventures, she meets mysterious like wuxia fighters that have secret kung fu that they teach her. There are many like scenes in caves where they discover secrets of the past. And there are lots of clues to an unknown treasure that multiple people are after. And they physically go from place to place and meet people and like fight each other. And so there is all of that there.
From soundstage to soundstage. Um,
Yes.
I think that it's really interesting because I really enjoyed the gender reversal. Like she was the badass hero,
Yeah.
and she like and like there's a lot of this in Chinese drama because they're like, oh, how can we make this plot more interesting? What if this man was really a woman, right? But they don't ever seem to like go as far where like she gets a harem. Like it actually reminds me a lot of Heavenly Sword Dragon Saber because like there are the scenes where like suddenly she just stumbles upon these like um old secret martial arts or people that want to teach her their martial arts secrets, much like Zhang Ji did. And then she gets her little like harem of lovesick boys that will do anything for her. They will even die for her upon just like meeting her once, right?
Mhm.
Despite her being like aloof and not being showing any interest in her, they're like still willing to like lay it on the line for her. So I feel like that's a thing that like male heroes get a lot in wuxia, and I really like that she got that in this.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that one of the other things that we liked was the character development for some of the characters. And in particular, we have often made fun of the juvenile baby man. And in this drama, the juvenile baby man actually grows up. And we're actually talking about Li Sung, who is the cousin of Zhou Fei, who in the beginning is very jealous of her because he can't
He's
beat
so
her,
annoying.
and he does a lot of things. I mean, I think that even though he grew up in the end, maybe this is a quibble, he never fully gets I think reprimanded for the fact that his irresponsible behavior led to his grandmother's death,
Yes.
directly led to his grandmother's death.
Yeah.
And so I feel like
Agree.
he never was held to account for that, although he did grow up.
And like in a like significant way. It's not just like, by the end he like realizes he could have been more mature in the past. He like actually like turns it around and does like, I mean, so much so that I experienced a little bit of whiplash when like suddenly he was like the strategic one and everybody else were like, rushing to like take action, and he's like, wait, let's have a plan. And I'm like, whoa, that was like a severe turnaround for this character. But I do, you know, I am deeply annoyed by juvenile baby men in Chinese drama and in real life. And so I can appreciate when they grow up, take responsibility, and like stop acting like children.
Yes. What else did we like about this?
I do think it
Okay.
had some fun characters.
Okay.
Um, like I liked Poison Snake guy. Um, I liked yeah, I liked the Tutu character, even though I had aspirations for her to be a more well-rounded character. Um, you know, a lot of the people they met along the way were interesting, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I liked some of the characters way more than others. Like some of them I just didn't understand what their purpose was, or okay, so this is where we transition into things that we liked less. There were some really interesting characters, you're right.
Mhm.
But there were some characters that I just didn't understand um like at all, because I didn't understand like who they were or their motivation, other like, and I'm talking specifically about some of the evil people and the evil like government people. It didn't make any sense that one guy, I can't remember his name, with the army that keeps like colluding with the Disa. Like, what is his name? I can't remember. But I didn't understand what his motivation was. Like, did he want to take over the government? Why was he trying
Yeah.
to rout her out?
So I think that the big trade-off for this not devolving into um like government politics stuff is that they
Hmm.
didn't explain it enough,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because like that guy, to my understanding, was trying to take over the government in the same way that that government had taken over from the previous government, right? So he
Okay.
was trying to like make shady allegiances so that he could get this treasure and take over the government. But like
Okay.
it's not like super explained.
Uh-huh.
Um
Yeah.
and so it's a little bit confusing. And then it's like, well, there's this rebel army
Yeah.
who's like fighting, who's like from the first. So there's like we're sort of like talking about three potential dynasties, right? Like the rebel army is sort of like fighting on behalf of the first dynasty that was removed, but then like Zofei's dad goes and runs it. But like, what are they fighting? Like, because the guy who would be the descendant of that dynasty is not interested in being the emperor. So like, what exactly are they fighting for? And then what
I
happens to them now that there's like 2 and 3 also in play? Like, I'm very confused by.
well, I was confused because I thought they were fighting like external enemies
I
for
don't
a
think
long time.
I'm
So
not
that
sure.
is so this goes into the category of like unclear plot, which is like how did the government dynamics actually even work? And like how is sharing friends or brothers with the third prince at
And whatever
all?
happened to him? Did he ever let him out of that cage? I don't know.
Yeah, and you know, it was like a very abrupt ending to what's his face, the one that was trying to take over the government too, because then all it was sort of like a postscript where someone said, "Oh yeah," and the emperor found out and like killed him. The end. And then there was also his like he was trying to get someone to collude with him, that bribe with the like the little jade statue or whatever. What was that about? Like I was very confused.
So I have heard that this drama did not stick closely to the plot um, of the source
Okay.
material, and that it's all jumbled up, and that may contribute to why so much of this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Um, but there are like so many plot holes, like
Yeah.
missing little
Okay.
brother.
The missing little brother. Does no one like think to go get like what happened to the little brother?
But there's this moment, right? Like 2/3 of the way through
Yeah.
where Lee Sung is like, oh, and we'll go bring your little brother here.
And she's like, "Yeah, that would be great."
And then that's it.
But they never do it.
No. Mm-mm.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that you know, the big thing that like we should talk about, that I'm sure you've heard a lot of people already talk about, is like production value
Yeah.
of this
It felt
drama.
very 90s throwback.
It's just like I feel like I've seen things in the 90s where if they're in an underground cave, it's like dark.
Uh-huh.
And in this like big cave scene that happens, it looks like it's like fluorescent lighting.
Hmm.
It's not
It was
it's
very low budget.
And this was not a low budget production. Like there was a lot of money allegedly put into this drama. So it's really hard to say where they spent it.
Yeah.
Um, because everything just looks like
Yeah.
like the ocean looks fake, the caves look fake, like it's just
The
all like
forest, the forest was fake.
yeah. So that's a little tough to watch. So um
Yeah, and the dubbing was also really bad.
yeah,
And the
I felt like
subtitles were bad.
if I felt like Wang Yibo in particular, like I didn't like the voice that was matched with him.
Mhm.
I just didn't feel like it was like in many ways like his character is very like carefree and playful, and a lot of that is like an act that he puts on because he's like been through a lot, but like there was like none of that in the voice. That was hard.
Yeah, I agree. So other things other than the production quality, I didn't like sort of a storytelling thing where all of the old people died. And by old, I mean anyone over like 40, it seemed.
Oh right,
Um,
it's like they were gonna celebrate her mom's like da so like her big
yeah,
like her huge like birthday, which is like usually how they describe a birthday of a very old person. It was her 40th. So
yeah. But then like every person like of well, okay, let's do two things. First, like they made it really hard to distinguish age because some of the older people looked very young, but then they were said to be very old. So the woman who, I guess, Zhou Niang, who was her grandfather's love interest, uh,
mm-hmm.
didn't look to be her grandfather's age, right? Because that would have made her 60 ish. And that didn't seem right. Although she was very young, so I guess she was closer to her daughter's age, which makes her 40. So I don't know, like the ages were very strange. But regardless, she of course dies. And then, you know, Ying Pei's like adoptive father, like the other this northern sword, he dies. He's like quote unquote
And well
older.
it
So
too.
he's like probably like 40.
Yeah.
And he's like meant to be this like old man. I don't know, it's very strange how they viewed this whole like young old thing.
Yeah. I mean, basically, this drama is about the idols, and they do not care about old people or young people.
Yeah.
And it is like, it is weird. Like, the age thing is weird. And definitely, like, people of that generation that is like, um, Zhou Fei's parents' generation, like, every time, like, Ni Chang Furen, right?
Yeah.
I was
She
just
oh
like waiting. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna kill her. Are they gonna kill
yeah,
her now? Are they gonna kill her now? Like, because all of her contemporaries got killed, right?
yeah.
So I was like, oh, I think that Zhou parents are both gonna like because they clearly were like, let's focus on this
Hmm.
generation and just kill off everyone. Um,
Even
it's
though ironically in the story their stories were more interesting than Zhou story.
it's so like, Chinese people talk about filial piety and how like there is like that contrast where like sometimes Western cultures can be known to like treat old people like they're disposable and like put them away in nursing homes, and like they don't do that in China, but like where does that reflect in this drama, because they just like kill them off.
They kill them off, but then they're not sad about the people. They're sad that the kung fu style is lost. Isn't that like interesting? As if like the sum total of a person's value when they leave is not about the relationships or anything. It's about like the legacy of their like fighting style, or I guess
Yeah,
their work, whatever the equivalent of that is these
not their
days.
legacy. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, so I was a little, I don't know what this is like in the actual like source material, but I just thought it was a little off-putting.
Yeah.
I also thought, and this is more about like just how these things are, but I
Mhm.
was very disappointed in the treasure.
I know. It was like a half, I would say more than half empty room. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's it? Of like some
Yeah.
jewels?
I mean, the whole process to get to it was so like extra Indiana Jones that you were just waiting for it to be something really special. But it
Yes.
wasn't, right? Because you had to have all of the things, and our grown-up juvenile baby man is the one who figured out the riddle, so good on him for being smart. But then, like, yeah, what was
And like,
so,
so
yeah,
the two things that
hmm,
like, I do like that what was the most valuable things in the treasure were not like the jewels and gold,
yes,
right? It was
yes,
like two books. And one was about like making weapons, and one was half of the Yawang Jing, the medicine, the medical book, right? But then like they get it, they go through all this trouble and they get the half of the medical book, they match it up with the other half, and he's like, oh well, it was smudged.
yeah,
So I'm like, what?
right, yeah,
And speaking of that, I would
yeah,
like to register also a complaint about like I just think that people need to stop calling things incurable poisons, because that is just telling you that like
mhm,
it's going to be cured. They're going to find a way.
yeah.
Especially if it is inflicting one of our main characters.
Yes, yes, of course. But that is a really interesting plot device too, or a character development device, because Shearing is ready to be like, and I'm about to die, so this is the end. And Zofei is like, no, we're gonna fight until the last second. So I think this is a way to show the different personalities as well.
Yeah. And her grandfather, I think that's another thing, right? Because
Yes.
like it feels like a really unnecessary and weird way to die, to kill off like someone who's like this like
Yeah.
renowned hero, is that he like cured, what was her name, um
Joan, yeah.
Joan Young, from her poison. Like he sucked the poison into his own body, and then
Yeah.
he just died, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um so like I guess it's saying something about him, like he's the kind of person that would do that, but also like, huh? Like that's it. That was the most like, anyways, yeah. So there were some things that were inconsistent or like not well thought out in this drama. Um and like I think there were like a lot of things that just could have been done better,
Hmm.
that made it kind of disappointing, because we were not the only ones that were deeply anticipating this
Yeah.
drama. So,
But overall, I would say it was fun to watch because there was nothing else to watch.
mhm.
And I hate to say it that way, but there's often not anything to watch, like right now. And so it was like I guess, a lighthearted watch that wasn't a stupid rom com.
Yeah. And I think that like they, in most like idol dramas that we've seen, I'm thinking like Maiden Holmes, right? There's just like a lot of making out, you know? And they
Hmm.
actually like let these two people have like develop a relationship that I thought was cute without being like excessively like
Yeah.
um PDA. And I know that like there have been a lot of like fans that like are being weird in China and like criticizing them
Yeah.
because of age difference, but like they don't look, I don't think that they look a different age to me. Um
No.
and I think that's just like fans being silly. But like, yeah, I think that it was a fun watch, and it's light, and it's not gonna be like you can't expect it to be like an epic, deeply dramatic thing.
No. No.
So
Well, watch it for entertainment. And just be aware that there are like that it's not the highest quality production, and there will be some things that irk you. But a lot of things won't make sense, but it's not the worst. I mean, you just
yeah.
reminded me, like, what was the actual worst treasure? Maybe we can have a longer arbitrary drama award about
Like
this.
worst drama, worst treasures.
like mistruth, like the drama, the
There was
treasure
one
at the end
pearl.
that like just had that weird blue light, right? So there were worse treasures to hunt for.
And it's an interesting premise because both of these two things were like
Mhm.
both Qian Cao Baozang, right? So like
Yes.
the treasure of the past dynasty. So like
Yes.
if this treasure were enough to grant you world domination or power, like why would it have belonged to the past dynasty? Like why wouldn't
Right.
they have used it to still be in
To
power?
maintain power, right. I don't know, and none of that makes sense. So we'll just have to go with that as a story, you know. But maybe the novel is better. We didn't read the original source, so we don't
No,
know.
no, I have to think it is better based on the author and um other things that we've seen from her. So um yeah,
Okay.
it left something to be desired, but also I don't regret watching it.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think I would watch it again,
No, I probably won't watch it again.
but I wouldn't like not recommend it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like talk anyone out of watching it.
no. And in fact, I would say, yeah, watch it. It's fun. Zofe is cute. So anyway, that's our review. Thanks for joining us. If you liked it, give it a little thumbs up or let us know in the comments if you also liked Faye or didn't like it.
Stay tuned for our next review. I think we might be reviewing another big name drama
It
coming
depends
soon.
on if we finish watching it.
Okay, bye.
I didn't finish watching The Wolf because I'm unmotivated to finish watching it.
Should finish watching it. How do I stop the recording?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
just
watched 47.